Excelsior!
Well, a little Mark Scott action, huh?
Yeah. What a shame at 8 after 6 to have to tell those of you that weren't aware that we have lost Mark Scott.
We've lost him.
Yeah, Mark Scott died.
He died?
He sure did.
No way.
Yes.
Oh, wow. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Well, toward the end, his radio career was just all over the place.
Well,
he seemed to be pretty popular there for a while in XYT, and
he went online, and he left the online thing over non-payment.
Yeah, and then he came back, and then people that loved him. And
he had a great following. He always had a good following.
Huge cult following. And when he came back from the internet onto, what station was he on? Oh, man.
Was he going 1310 or something?
Oh, yeah, probably. Yeah, I think it was. And he used to always talk about contracts and how everybody was screwing him all the time. He wasn't getting his money or the engineering staff or no matter what it was. He was really vocal about it. But this last time, I thought he seemed to be pleased to come back. And then it was just a short while he was on, and then he left.
Well, he was just a fun guy to listen to.
Yeah.
No question.
Yeah, but what did he die of?
Let's see. I believe it was a heart attack. Yeah, he'd had heart problems in the last year.
Oh, boy. A lot of stress, I'll bet.
His broadcast career ended just a little over a year ago. He left the Michigan Talk Radio Network.
Oh, that's right, 1310.
A debate, a rift over non-payment of his salary.
Yeah, there you go. Always. He was always in those kinds of fights.
Well, non-payment of salary is pretty unusual.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's all about.
He used to try to work out his contracts on the air, too. even on XYT.
Well, he was a very entertaining guy. Had some very unique theories, and his listeners were, you couldn't separate him with a crowbar.
Yeah. Trish used to listen to him for a while there.
When we were on...
In the beginning, in the early days, XYT.
When he used to come on at 9 o'clock, if I had to run an errand after the show, I'd pop him on, 10:15, 10:30 or whatever. And I was always amazed. He had a very unique style.
Yeah,
and
sure did.
I could certainly understand why he did well.
Yeah, absolutely.
But 69 years old, that's a little younger than you would think.
That's young, yeah, it really is.
Because he was into working out. I guess he was in pretty good shape.
He was a martial arts expert. He's a black belt in karate. I forget what degree, and
it so fits.
He was also into something, I forget what. He was really big into exercise and all that stuff.
And they got quite an obit for him here. He went to 5 colleges, was in combat service as a Marine in the Korean War, worked for California evangelist Garner Ted Armstrong's Worldwide Church of God, writing scripts for the telecast.
Wow.
To mix the apocalyptic and the political in the 60s. Michael Packer brought him to XYT in 81, and he was there for a good 8 or 9 years. Oh, by the way, he was selected after they couldn't get Alan Berg, the Denver talk show guy from talk radio that was murdered. Mm-hmm. They almost had Alan Berg hired, and he turned them down at the last second, so they brought in Mark Scott, and Michael Packer quoted here saying he was an instant success. They went from 13th to 3rd. His wife said he never played devil's advocate just to provoke dialogue, and I would certainly agree with that. He was his own man.
Oh, God, yeah. He stood strong in what he believed, and he didn't care what anybody thought.
He was at XYT till 87, fight over a contract. Then he went to WWJ. This is funny, because when I read this, this is before my time here, I thought, Mark Scott at WWJ, what a bad mix that is. And sure enough, his stay there lasted 8 days. Station management cited Scott's use of ethnic slurs and an explicit segment on oral sex for firing him.
Oh.
Scott said the language in context was not offensive. Afterwards, he often said WWJ was an acronym for weak, wimpy journalism. Went to New York and Washington, and then back to XYT in 1990. This is funny as hell. Rush Limbaugh was lecturing at Masonic Temple, and he introduced the personality who would precede him on the air Well, they had Rush Limbaugh introduce him at the end of his speech, and it was Mark Scott was coming back, and the place went absolutely ballistic, and Limbaugh was just befuddled. You know, what the hell is this all about?
Yeah, right. They hate that. Yeah. They get bigger applause than them.
Well, hey, I don't think he knew who he was, and figured, who is this guy? What's this all about? Because people went crazy. Then January 2001, they went sports talk, and that was, of course, not his cup of tea. He fought the New World Order he believed would have diluted U.S. military power and warned of black helicopters and helmeted UN troops taking over the country. He supported the presidential candidacy of Bo Gritz.
Yeah. He was, it was always that sort of thing, her libertarian ticket.
And his wife, Leslie Scott, said he carried a handgun because there were threats, there was danger.
Yeah, he enjoyed guns. He loved guns.
Scott was a health enthusiast who used anti-gravity boots instead of martial arts. Anti-gravity boots.
Yeah.
Why did he end his show with Excelsior? His wife explained with a capital E, it means onward and upward, and that was his philosophy. Mark Scott dies at 69. That's
I just remember hearing him with that Excelsior business. It was kind of like Seacrest out.
I think it's a little more meaningful than Seacrest out.
Well, but it was a hook, in terms of it being a hook.
Seacrest out.
You fit that in last night.
Before we get to Seacrest and his little friends, that's too bad about Mark Scott, though. That's really too bad, man. I know. That's a shame. Well, probably killed him to be off the radio, you know?
Yeah, no doubt.
Live for that.
Absolutely.
And Mark Scott, dead at 69.
That's a bummer. That's too bad.
I had some heart problems.
Yeah, jeez, man.
He had a long career in this business. He was came to XYT in 81, left in 87, came back in 90. That was a funny story. I never heard that before. Rush Limbaugh actually introduced him. He was speaking at Masonic. I think it was Masonic. And he introduced Mark Scott as the new guy who was on before him, and the place went bonkers, and Rush didn't know what was going on. He was clueless. But then when they went sports, of course, he went online with his show, and then there was some dispute over getting paid, and he'd been off the air for a while.
Yeah, then he came back after being online, which was really great, and his fans were just absolutely delighted when he returned. And then he went off the air again, seemingly over money issues, not getting paid and all that sort of thing, and then vanished. But, boy, he sure had a following, and what a shock, boy. That's too bad.
They had a good story, great story about him, really, in the paper today, if you're a fan. And his listeners were loyal. Man, he's one of those shows you can just move, and the people just plunk them over on wherever they belong or wherever they go next. Boy, I see, we had a good rating period, and we still got popped in the paper for some reason.
Yeah, I know, out of the blue.
Which one are you reading there?
Well, there's a couple
Sminty
of them. Which one you want?
I don't care.
The first one is Susan Whitehall. Everything is going great. What she's talking about, WJR and WWJ, and it's going on and on and on. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, just out of the blue, not even talking about Riff before this, just out of the blue, a new paragraph. It's good to have your own smoking patio, and Drew and Mike ruled again in Morning Drive, pulling a 7.8 share for Greater Media's WRIF-FM. The smoking patio, huh? The damn smoking patio.
Well, that was written about a couple years ago, and it's funny when something's written and it becomes fact.
Yeah, it becomes fact, and it's a patio out there.
Nobody ever demanded any smoking patio.
Never. Never.
Again, because it appeared in print, it seems to live in infamy. But, Susan's not a mean-spirited person.
No,
I think she's just saying...
I think it's tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah, no, it is. It's, But I know...
Others use the smoking patio.
It's just funny how it comes up, though. It's been so long since we heard about the smoking patio. And it's just... What's funny is that it's just so out of the blue.
I know.
It's just so
Well, you would think it was forgotten because at the time it was like, wait a second, what is this?
Yeah.
Nobody demanded any smoking patio. Well, no, the story was that it dragged the construction
it held
construction
and
it increased the cost by a lot or something like that.
Yeah, which is absolutely ridiculous.
But it wasn't anything anyone asked for in the first place.
No,
so.
And it's just a slab of concrete. The formal official smoking patio is opposite from ours, and that has a roof on it with a heater. The other article was in Smintech. Everything goes fine. He actually talks about us, gives us the normal stuff, and other slot races when he starts going into mornings. WRIF's Drew Lane and Mike Clark led the morning pack with a 7.8 score. Infinity owned WWJ's Joe Donovan, Roberto Jacina were second with a 7.5. Following with third place, Smith was OMC's Dick Purden with a 6.3. So forth and so on. So far, so good. All right, then we get to the very last paragraph in Smitty's. And it says, WRIF's Lane and Clark maintained their large listenership with this 25 to 54 group scoring a 10.3, parentheses, although that was down from the 11 they tallied in 2004's final quarter. Come on, Sminty. Do you have to make a comparison to 2004?
Well, number one is number one, for God's sake.
Exactly. You don't have to, find a way to show that something has gone down.
Well, the thing about it is...
Come on.
It doesn't matter what demographic you're talking about. 50% of the people go up and 50% of the people go down. You cannot go up every time or you'd end up with 100% and there would only be one radio station.
Period.
So we've noticed, and it's not in any one specific place, but it seems that when we go down, there tends to be a mention of it. And there are a few other people, when they go down, for some reason, it never is pointed out. I don't want to mention any names, but Mitch Albom sure doesn't seem to get mentioned when he goes down.
Boy, no, not at all. And there's no mention of how he's sitting in a valley, him being the lowest point in their afternoon situation.
Well, yeah, they say, in fact, they say free press columnist Mitch Albom in an hour of news were tied for sixth with a 4.5. Of course, they don't mention that the show previous to him does an 8.2.
Yeah. And then
so he loses 40% of the audience, and yet he gets lauded for tying for sixth.
Yeah, even though he free fell all the way down to a 4.5 when he came in, and then it goes up to a 5.5 after him.
Not only that, if we were in his position, we'd get embattled Mitch Albom.
That's right. So here we are sitting number 112 plus, 1834, 2554, and what happens? Sminty has to reach back to 2004 to show a loss.
Why doesn't he get an embattled...
Smitty!
Why doesn't he get an embattled free press columnist? He shouldn't just get free press columnist. That seems inaccurate. He's embattled free press columnist.
Yes, he is.
God.
Oh, man.
And he never goes down. According to the paper, he never, ever goes down. No one would ever think he ever went down.
Nope. You never know he's
or gets
a weak
bad
link
review
in the chain. Never.
He's a true performer, and that's just his style.
Yeah. So, cut it out, Sminty.
We got a lot of email on Mitch Albom, which we never really got around to.
But there's some people... By the way, to thank the audience for that, by the way. Thank you very much, all of you out there, with your ratings.
Yeah, absolutely.
For making us number one. We
really,
really appreciate that.
Paper doesn't think it's as good as it used to be, but we think it's pretty good.